Jorian Shadowveil. The chipped porcelain of the teacup warmed my hands, a small comfort against the perpetual chill of temporal station Gamma 9. Each day unfolded with the same muted precision, cataloging chronal disturbances, filing reports on altered timelines, and politely refusing requests from historians eager to observe particularly messy collapses of civilization. Jorian Shadowveil, they called me, a dustborn, they whispered, meaning one who wasn't born to time, but within it, adrift. It wasn't a life of grand adventure, but of meticulous record-keeping, a quiet desperation settling in my bones with each passing rotation. I'd begun to suspect the station wasn't a post, but a mausoleum, and I, its sole, reluctant inhabitant. The anomaly arrived not as a burst of energy or a temporal ripple, but as a package. Small, unremarkable, addressed simply to the curator. Inside, nestled amongst packing straw, was a music box. An antique crafted from dark wood inlaid with silver, it played a melody I'd never heard yet felt intimately familiar. As the last note faded, a figure materialized. A young woman, no older than 20, dressed in clothing centuries out of date, radiating a bewildered terror. She spoke a dialect of Old Valerian, a language thought extinct for millennia, pleading for help. The box, she claimed, was a key to a timeline fracturing at its core. My first instinct, naturally, was to file a report. Protocol dictated immediate quarantine and analysis by the Chronal Security Directorate. It was the sensible, bureaucratic response. I drafted the report detailing the anomaly and the woman's claims. I even included a preliminary assessment of the music box. But as I reviewed the document, a sense of unease settled over me. The directorate would dissect the woman, study the box, and likely erase the fractured timeline to maintain temporal stability. A clean, efficient solution. But something in the woman's desperate eyes, the haunting melody of the music box, stayed my hand. I deleted the report and attempted a simple temporal recalibration. A minor adjustment to the music box's chronal signature, hoping to send her back to her own time. It failed. The box pulsed with a dark energy, and the woman's distress intensified. The music box resisted every conventional temporal technique. I needed someone who understood not just the mechanics of time travel, but its music. Old Man Hemlock, a disgraced chronobiologist exiled to the lower levels of the station, was my only hope. Hemlock, a man obsessed with the resonant frequencies of timelines, saw the box not as a device, but as an instrument. He claimed its melody was a chronal signature, a unique harmonic pattern that held the fractured timeline together. He agreed to help, but insisted I learn to listen to time, to perceive the subtle vibrations of collapsing realities. He subjected me to a grueling regimen of sonic exercises and temporal meditations, forcing me to confront the chaotic symphony of existence. After weeks of training, I began to perceive the subtle dissonance within the music box's melody, a jarring note that threatened to unravel the entire timeline. Hemlock guided me, teaching me how to manipulate the box's internal chronal resonators using focused sonic vibrations. It was delicate work requiring absolute precision and a profound understanding of temporal harmonics. Finally, after countless attempts, we managed to stabilize the melody, to restore the fractured timeline to a semblance of coherence. A wave of relief washed over me, a sense of accomplishment I hadn't felt in decades. For the first time, I wasn't simply a curator of time, but a repairer, a restorer. But the restoration wasn't complete. The stabilized timeline, while no longer fracturing, was wrong. The woman, whose name was Anya, explained that the original timeline had been altered centuries ago by a rogue temporal agent seeking to exploit a unique energy source hidden within her era. Our efforts had merely patched the damage, concealing the underlying corruption. The energy source, she revealed, was not a resource to be exploited, but a protective barrier preventing a far greater temporal catastrophe. The rogue agent's actions had weakened the barrier, leaving countless timelines vulnerable to a primordial chaos. Anya pleaded with me to travel back in time and prevent the rogue agent from tampering with the bar. But it meant rewriting history, potentially creating paradoxes, and risking the unraveling of everything I knew. But inaction meant condemning countless timelines to oblivion. The Directorate predictably refused to authorize the mission, deeming it too dangerous. They saw the barrier as a natural phenomenon, not a deliberate safeguard. They preferred containment to intervention. I was left with a terrible choice: obey the rules and watch countless worlds fall, or defy the Directorate and risk everything to protect them. I chose defiance. Using a salvaged temporal vessel and Anya as my guide, I traveled back to the era of the rogue agent. The mission was fraught with peril, but ultimately successful. We exposed the agent's machinations, restored the barrier, and secured the future of countless timelines. I returned to Temporal Station Gamma 9, a changed man. I was no longer a passive curator, but an active protector. The Directorate predictably issued a warrant for my arrest, but I no longer cared for their approval. I had found a purpose, a reason to exist within the currents of time. My life was no longer quiet desperation, but a constant vigil, a silent song against the encroaching chaos. And sometimes, late at night, I would listen to the faint echo of the music box, a reminder of the fragile beauty of time and the responsibility we all bear to protect it.